everyone, it's Jean. I just wanted to stop by with a really quick video. Hope you guys are doing good today. So often when I'm watching creators make their ATCs or their really cool journal pages, a lot of things that they have remind me of specialty papers that you can buy, like specialty tissues and things of that nature. What I'm going to show you today is a way to make some really cool specialty papers. Pardon me as I'm making a mess already. Hopefully some of that stuck to the dots because I waited a minute while I was adjusting my camera. So this is embossing powder. It's the silver. I'm going to put it in that. And this is the Memento. It's called Tuxedo Black, and it's fade resistant dye ink. So that's what we're using today. I'm just going to cover that up. So what I've been doing is taking a mark making tool, and then I am pouring some embossing powder over the top, and I'm doing several rows at a time, and then I will emboss them, and then what we'll have is some really pretty papers to use for our either ATCs, or maybe you like to use these for your journaling pages, backgrounds for clusters. Just recently I was watching Hazel Anaka Designs, and she had purchased a whole bunch of really pretty wrapping paper. And wrapping paper or tissue paper that you can find sometimes, because it used to come in a folded pack instead of on a roll, are really fun to collect for your projects. I don't use wrapping paper very often, but I do use tissue paper. And I've noticed some creators that I watched on Instagram having this really cool dotted paper. So I wanted to try to create my own. So I'm going to show you exactly what I do here, because I intend to fill up this whole page. I just had to do that really quick because I had already stamped it before I decided to turn on the camera. So I'm going to take this Memento ink, and the mark making tool that I am using for these little dots, believe it or not, is just a glue stick. And my hands are painty because I've been painting. Two of my friends and I are going to do the 10-page challenge that Darcy and Carrie designed. So I have been doing a few pages a day, and with ours we will have to create 30 pages, one set of 10 for ourselves and one set of 10 for Becky and one set of 10 for Lygia. So that's how, oops, my glue stick took a right turn there. wanted to slide to the right. This paper I purchased off of Amazon, and it is called Wet Strength tissue paper. I can feel that it's heavier. I've never had Wet Strength tissue paper before, and I did not buy the brand name, which is Carnival, because that's expensive. I don't remember what this brand name is, but I like it because it's not waxy like a wax paper, so it's really easy to stamp on for the most part, as long as I stay in the right place. I hope you guys are seeing this and I'm not out of frame. So let me just pull this up a little bit. So just taking my glue stick so I can get a little tiny circle. I love circles, I love polka dots, and I've been envious of this paper that I've seen. And I have embossing powder and used to use it years and years ago. I'm talking like 25 years ago. And we would emboss things, but we would, the only way we could heat our items, because we didn't have like a toaster oven that you could open or anything, we just held it over the toaster or over the stove burner. But you know, the stove burner is a lot more dangerous. However, it does work a little bit faster than a toaster. So in a pinch, if you need to make some embossed papers and you don't have a heat gun, you can use your toaster. So now I'm just going to spread on the embossing powder, and it's going to be kind of heavy-handed because I have a lot of dots here. And what I do is I try to be heavier at one end and not so much at the other end, so that I can just pull it down, kind of like have it fall down onto the bottom ones, and then move it around so that everything gets covered. And then we'll do a shake, shake, shake. Make sure any excess is off. Did I cover all of those? Sorry if I'm bumping the iPad. I'm trying to get it situated where I can film properly, so one of those things, you know. Okay, so now I'm going to put this back in, and honestly I'm not being super careful with this bottle of embossing powder because I melted the lid to it by accident, so I'm not sure what else to put it in. I don't have a small container, so it will probably, once it runs its course, for the most part, have to end up in the trash. Okay, it looks like I pretty much have all of them covered. So I'm going to turn on the heat gun and just let you see how quickly this goes. And I think it does emboss a little bit quicker on this tissue paper because it's so light. But I love this. And then, of course, I'm going to be using it in some projects, so you'll see it again. And I'll show you another design that I made here in a moment. Let me get this all nice and Now my lines aren't very straight, and I don't really mind that because I'm going to tear the paper probably to add it to different things. But if you are particular about that and you want to add some lined paper or something underneath, you could do that, and that would help you to keep it all aligned properly. So I'm just making sure all these are embossed. Sometimes I take my heat tool away before everything's done. And if you have any ink that has clear, not clear, but you can actually use the clear, but any kind of ink that is wet when you apply it is what the embossing powder is going to stick to and allow you to create those designs. Now the one I did before that was bigger circles, and I just used a dauber for that, which should not have gone anywhere, but you know how that is. So let me see if it's in my little carousel here. I may have put it back. It's the small dauber. 2 stars. So it's this small dauber, and I will do that on the remaining piece here without my hair. So I just basically take the dauber and I just make a round circle, make sure it's pretty much opened and it has enough ink on it so that the embossing powder will stick to it. Let me see. Man, you guys are getting a bumpy ride because I keep hitting the edge of my thing. So I'm going to put my paper under here and cover this with some embossing powder just down the row here, and hopefully get enough on those. A little more on this one. Okay, they look pretty good. And then I will take this and put that right inside my cup. And then we can heat emboss these few. And then we'll have a whole sheet of silver polka dots. Now you can do this with any color of embossing powder you may have, or if you have the clear embossing glaze, that will work as well. Just remember with the glaze that whatever color you put underneath is going to show through. So if you have some stamps that have some mark making, like blocks or squares or something like that, you can use whatever you want to make your marks. I just wanted to do polka dots today, so we are doing polka dots. And we're not using any fancy tools. All of us probably have a glue stick or another item we can use to stamp with. If you don't have embossing powder to finish up your design with, you could probably use just the silver colored, a silver colored paint or something like that to make a really cool design. So there we go. We have a sheet with various sizes, and then we can tear these sheets apart and put them right on our projects. Now this one came out pretty, a little bit better aligned. So if you like that, where it looks a little bit better aligned, as I mentioned, if you can't eyeball it, just put a piece of notebook paper or graph paper or something underneath it where you can follow the lines. So that is my little project for you today. I hope you're not seasick from the bumpiness. And if you try it, let me know in the comments. You have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.